IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. That's right, head of marketing and sales. I own one of the rare people who have both the jobs, twin jobs, like an all-rounder in cricket. That's me. The name of the company is Bekar.com, and well, that's us. You can tell from the ringing laughter in the background, that's not Silvery or Rishi, who never laugh at anything I have to say, except when I say I'm trying to send something on the laptop, because then the derision starts. It'll never come. But in the meantime, I haven't slept. I've slept only 2 hours. We've been working very hard. When you work for Israel, it's very different from India. They really make you work. So no sleep has happened. But when I heard the name of the gentleman coming on this podcast, I said to myself, Bola Ram Bhi Breo. He's already sponsored a lot of our shows, and he's already been like a friend of the family, so to speak. So we have to not only show him respect, we have to cover his feet with oil. The good oil, huh? Guys, the good oil. I'm not familiar with what oil you use for great people, but it'll be wiped properly. Lotion, perhaps lotion is a better word. I'll get back to you with that.
Have you ever wondered where the business world is headed? How the ways in which we create, market, and sell to consumers will evolve? Or if we'll ever go back to wearing pants while working? For answers to all of this and more, tune into Advertising is Dead with me, Varun Dugirala. Every Tuesday, as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers from across business, media, marketing, and beyond. You can catch all episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Presenting on our show today, the one and only Chaitanya Chitta. And there'll be music in the background. If we had the proper sponsorship, Chaitanya, we would have music in the background. I apologize for that. First and foremost, thank you so much. Good morning. And a cup of Joe that we get, cup of Slay coffee. Let me just remind everyone, people who, we have about 9 regular listeners out of a total of 10, because my mother tries to do it once in a while and then, gives up. They all know about Slay. Slay's played a very important role. I think Slay is more popular than Silvery and as popular as Rishi, which are the 2 most popular things on the show. Keep in mind, Ambit and me don't get any points. Chaitanya, as you know, I talk too much, and we want to talk about your life here and not just the fact that you're one of those great men who's sponsoring programs that nobody cares for. I want to go back and start in the beginning, because as you can tell, my Wi-Fi is not working in this office where I'm working, which is basically a Wi-Fi setup. So as usual, Wi-Fi areas or markets are where you don't get Wi-Fi. It's a law of physics. So I don't have any biodata whatsoever, and these are the best shows we've ever had. When we have to start from scratch, like 2 men in a bar saying, "Hey, yaar, kya karta hai? What do you do?" So I'm going to start with that question. Chaitanya, going back, how did it start? Let's start about this Slay Coffee initiative. Then I want to go back into your life properly and see how you got to where you got. Coffee market, and I'm going to sound like a commerce graduate who's a little green. You would think it's too many players, right? Wouldn't that the first thought that comes to mind, that it's inundated a little bit? So why Slay Coffee and why coffee?
Yeah, firstly, thanks a lot for having me on the show. Great fan of yours.
You decide whether you come on the show, not us. You've not realized. You check the MOU. Okay.
Yes,
sorry.
yes. No, I think you rightly said, the admiration is mutual. We've been associated with the show for some time now. I love what Amit and the entire team is doing at IVM as well. But yeah, I think going back to your question, so coffee happens to be sort of an accident. We were both Lakshmi, my wife, and I are the co-founders of the brand. And we've been doing it for a while. It looks like we've been doing it for donkey's years. Slay as a brand is only 2.5 years old, but we've been in the space as a Drop Cafe, which is our company, for almost, this is our 7th year. So we're trying to do the whole coffee, getting across to people without them going to cafes, without them spending a lot of money, and giving that convenience.
Let me just ask one very important point here, which is, I think we mentioned it earlier. It started before pandemic. The whole idea of coffee to you, okay, which is your unique concept. That was before pandemic, and your timing was just fantastic, or it was during pandemic?
Yeah. So Slay as a brand itself was before pandemic. We started Slay 2019, March, April. That was actually our first pilot. But before Slay, we were doing something similar as well, which was in Bangalore. That was starting in 2015, mid of 2015. So the whole coffee delivery was not something coffee, not just delivery. Delivery happens to be one of the formats, but how do you get a good cup of coffee available, accessible, affordable, in ways just other than just going to a cafe? That's the whole idea. So, but yeah, I think the whole idea of, gourmet coffee that you can drink every day, right? I mean, so the backstory is really simple, Cyrus. I mean, we lived in, outside India for a bit, and we kind of, seen the coffee culture outside, and we thought it just makes sense. India is one of the world's largest coffee producing countries, but we actually drink shitty coffee. I mean,
Wow.
this is the same thing with.
That's a very strong statement, Chaitanya. Huh.
Well,
And
I mean,
I know.
it's actually brutally true. I mean, we all
What are you
drink instant
saying?
coffee.
But there's
Yeah,
so many people who say they love Indian coffee and all that. I mean, I always hear people saying, "Yeah, this coffee in
Oh
this
no, no.
place, and
Let
that
me
coffee in that place."
let me clarify. I'm saying our coffees that we produce as a country are great. I'm saying as consumers, what we drink is basically not so great. And what I mean by that is, look, I think coffee is just sort of complicated, right? I mean, I'll take just 30 seconds to kind of explain. You have instant
Take
coffee,
1 hour. Huh.
you have instant coffee, which is basically sort of the gateway into the coffee bowl.
Correct.
People just take the coffee powder, you kind of mix it with hot water, hot milk, whatever works for you. So that's predominantly the largest chunk. I mean, that's like 85% of the entire coffee consumption. And then you get into, more of a coffee powder that you actually brew, then make the decoction, which is typically the South Indian filter coffee, that what people refer to.
Exactly.
So that's actually a culture that's very old, and it's deeply penetrated in certain parts of the country. Then you got all these, I would say, the
Fancy.
the fancy, as well as more Western, more European, more even US. I mean, US didn't have a coffee culture until obviously Starbucks and other brands made it very kind of Americanized, and they obviously did a great job, like US always does. I mean, they take something and they kind of blow it to the next level, right? So you have this whole espresso, which is basically how do you use machines to get good coffee brewed, and that's sort of all the sophistication of coffee that happened later on. But in India or lot of other markets, people still drink instant coffee. They think coffee means instant coffee, right? But I mean, coffee is like wine. Coffee has a lot of character. Coffee can do a lot of stuff. Coffee can actually, I mean, it's just deep. The whole how how the coffee is grown, from the cherry to to the cup. It's just a complicated, fascinating, and very very
But
I would
I'm
say.
getting a sense of, from what you're saying, that society is almost divided on the coffee they drink. Like the Aam Aadmi, Janta generally having just general coffee and not paying attention to the sophistication and all involved in the coffee. They just, as you said, instant coffee. Is that correct? That you have a whole army of people who just, because say in our canteen here, the coffee is
Right.
rubbish. If one is to be honest and exposed to other coffees, like where Slays and where this is, there's no question of, there's not even a contest.
So this is actually this slightly bigger topic. I mean, we just happen to, we can take coffee as an example, but my perspective on life in general is about this, right? We tend to love things, and we tend to celebrate things based on our own exposure, based on our own understanding, our own awareness. Sometimes you feel, okay, you know what, this is it. I'm getting the best of it. Now suddenly you get another dimension. Somebody tells you, a friend of yours tell you, or you travel somewhere, you realize, or suddenly something else happens. Then you start realizing, that so far what I've been doing is actually not the greatest, but there is something better than this. And it's been sort of that in every walk of life. I mean, as a country, as we're progressing, both consumerism wise, as well as people's aspirations, people's idea of living better, all of that. I'm not just materialistic sense, in general, about chasing, seeking, and having experiences. So I think we lagged on the supply side. So for example, if good coffee only is available in cafes, and you have to spend 200 to 50 bucks to sit there and to almost shell out like a meal like money, and then get intimidated on who is coming in, who is, all this fanciness around. And, it just, the theatrics of coffee is basically what, as a society, a lot of the markets are exposed to. Now, there is also another way, which is how can I get a good cup of coffee, not just in that one setting.
But just going back, Chaitanya, I want to ask you, going back where you went with your wife and got this experience where you said, boss, this is the right way, or whatever, let's call it some sort of inspiration. But,
Right.
but coming back to the whole culture that you've taken it, like you said, coffee is just a stepping stone into this world, society. So I'm very intrigued by what you're saying. And I'm just thinking, there's also the whole culture, westernized as it is, that coffee is the place where people hang out and have a conversation. The so-called coffee shop, and which only mushroomed in the last 10 to 15 years. Mostly
Right.
it started in the south as well, but it started becoming a place to go. And suddenly there's a whole culture around coffee where coffee was just a slightly richer man's version of tea. I don't know if that's fair to say.
Yeah, it's
And
fair to say. It's fair to say. So I think, yes, you're right. I mean, the whole idea of a third place, right? I mean, you have home, you have work, and you have a third place. So cafes and coffee shops being the third place is something that
I blame Friends. Friends played a very important role. What do you think?
True. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
for some reason, the wave suddenly started again now, right? Last 6 months, 1 year, people are again catching on. Maybe because of the OTTs, it's available more. But yeah, so the third place, concept of a coffee shop being a third place, right, where people just go to relax, meet up, chill, and have random conversations.
And yet it's got a hip touch to it also. It's
Yeah.
like, this is the place to go to. It's like a Greenwich Village feel, or this is where
Yes.
people meet. Some of these places are where people have great ideas, etc., etc. So there's a whole
Right,
thing
right.
that's happening. Sorry.
Absolutely. So it creates serendipity. It kind of creates that vibe. I mean, when people, when a
Chaitanya,
bunch
don't
of
use big words on our show now. They're only 8-year-olds to 8 to 10 is our normal market here. Now, serendipity means 15 minutes. You have to take a break while they go and, Google, and spelling
Okay.
will be a problem. What the hell
Yeah,
does it mean
no.
anyway? I know there was a film called that some back in the 90s years.
Yeah,
back,
so it just you're right. I think I'm taking a segue from what you're saying. A lot of people congregate in cafes, coffee shops because the vibe, the aromas of the coffee, the action. You just feel like, hey, listen, I think it's a great place to hang out. But our whole idea is that setting still is very relevant. Even today's world that exists. What we are trying to differentiate is coffee consumption. We're a food and beverage brand. We just don't are saying that coffee should be confined only to that experience. So a coffee is, I believe coffee is like is a power drink, is a power beverage. It's actually probably the only legal drug. That actually can do something to you. And in coffee, by the way, was in certain countries, certain times earlier, it
Banned.
was considered to be, it's a drug, a substance that used to be like, banned.
How many
So I
cups
think
of coffee will be safe? I wonder, honestly. Can you have because I know people who go to coffee. Now that you mentioned your segue and all that, I have friends who have these coffee dates. Adults they go as couples on a Saturday night because say many of them are not into alcohol per se, so they like the
Right.
coffee culture. But they sit from 7 in the evening till about 12 in the night if it's open, of course, and they consume. I was asking her the other day, and she said, yeah, we have 5-6 cups of coffee. It's normal. So 5-6 cups of coffee is a lot, isn't it? Even over 5-6 hours.
Right. So I think, just like any product, not just coffee, any product, moderation is the key. You can't eat too much sugar, you can't eat too much butter, you can't eat too much starch or wheat.
Too much
So-
love.
Too much love
freedom.
also.
Too much freedom of expression. Oh, that's not there. That's not there. Yeah, sorry. Go on.
Anything.
Don't segue, Chaitanya. It's about coffee.
Yeah,
No
so-
ranting. Yeah.
So yes, I think scientifically speaking, there is a certain limit based on your BMI, based on your age, and all of that. But listen, I think 3 to 4 cups actually is a pretty good, I would say, medium
Usable
average.
amount.
Yes. But it also depends on the coffee. You can't really measure by the cup, right? For example, we have a blend
Right.
called Slay X, which is basically what we call India's strongest coffee because it's produced from like the Karnataka, which is actually very popular. Indian Robustas. There is a variety of coffee called Indian Robustas, and world over they're exported. And unfortunately, Indians, as us, we don't consume that coffee. And where does that come from?
Because
the
it's
brand has-
strong.
no, it's not. So the Indian Robusta, there are 2 varieties in coffee, right? Arabicas and Robustas. These are the, not to go too technical, there are 2 varieties. And the Indian Robustas are
as long as you
actually
say it slowly, serendipity is the first word. Now we have Robusta and what? Arabica.
Arabica, Arabica, Arabicas. So the Indian Robustas actually are very popular. We export that a lot, and within those, you can make certain blends that we've done, which can be strong in caffeine, yet they're not bitter. So the whole point, going back to I think your intro question, we just believe, just like anything happening with other stuff, we also believe that as customers, as consumers, our market, the markets that we're serving currently in India, we just believe that coffee is such a functional product. We just want to make it easily available, affordable, accessible, not just in the format that people are used to, which is a cafe or building at home. So we basically are doing it formats. Delivery is actually the first one. Now we have grab and go. We just launched something in Bombay where you can just order, on your phone, schedule, and you just go pick it up, right?
Pick it up.
Yeah. So
Like a drive-by.
like my son just gave me my cup. He just picked it up from a street close by, and so if you don't mind, I'm gonna just have a sip. But
Please, I'll also have a sip of Slay coffee.
So the whole idea is, people are actually our customers. They love their coffee. I mean, it's what actually makes us going is, the customer testimonials, right? I mean, the right saying, "Hey, listen, you guys made my day." I mean, I was having a shitty day. I ordered Slay. I felt slightly better. And we have testimonials from customers who write that, this is actually somebody in Bangalore or Delhi, I can't recollect, but they ordered during the lockdown more than 100 times. So they both ordered. They kind of the relationships became stronger over 100 plus Slay coffees, and they got engaged. They sent us a lovely post. So I think it's very surreal. It's very, I would say, even though we're in a business,
it's not just the coffee.
It's
That
not just
your
coffee.
next brand. Yeah. but you open another door, and I want to get into that immediately. So then now we're talking about these specially brewed coffees, which have their special touches to them, custom made, if you like. Okay, where you really come into play, I think, because we were going to the names and we would discuss it. Of course, we're doing it as promotion as well. But they're fascinating names, and some of them I was thinking, what would be the story behind that name? Because obviously there's a lot of thinking going into it. You don't just come up with a fancy name. The name has to somehow.
Yeah. All that credit goes to a bunch of youngsters, creative thinkers in our team. So I mean, there are menus, there are coffees like Graveyard, and the Graveyard actually is made with Slay X, which is basically very strong coffee. It's almost like, it's dark, it's strong. We have something called the Wrong Turn. I think something similar. I think these guys come up with it. They test it.
Chaitanya, I don't know. I'm 50 years old, and so I'm no longer. I used to be hep at 16, I think, for 6 months, and then it ended. So I don't know. But the guys, the Rishis and the Silveries and all, the ones who are really today's people, and they all love these names. And I'm just thinking that to get that right, also, you think it's just a name, but a name is more than just a name. And we play with the names, the Graveyard that you mentioned, and there are a few others as well. And I'm thinking that you think that makes a big difference also, because suddenly coffee, as going back to your point in the beginning, it's much more than coffee. Coffee is now like a character, and it's almost like this is my brand. I like Graveyard. Maybe that dark,
Absolutely.
Powerful, whatever.
Absolutely. See, I think, you I think you said it 100% right. Customers really are buying into an experience. They're not just buying a cup of coffee. They allow the entire thing of how the brand is talking to me. I mean, what's the tone? So I think this is just relevant for every entrepreneur, every business, every brand, old, new, doesn't matter. That you're engaging with the customer in multiple ways, not just selling your product. For example, the whole idea of delivering a hot cup of coffee that gets delivered to you after 30 minutes, it still basically is not leaking. It has to taste good. It has to have that aroma. So we've done some basic things around packaging. I mean, today people talk about Slay and say, "Hey, listen, you guys really killed the packaging." We've done good things, right? But the more important thing is, when you get it, the artwork, all the small little touches, the more detail we put into, the better the customer basically appreciates. And especially the things that they're not expecting, if you give them, right, they're even more happy.
It's also like it feels like a happy brand. There's color, there's things happening in the cup. There's the whole sense of there's a happy energy that comes with the coffee, which then again mostly puts you in a happy mood also once you consume it. So here's the big question, and don't give out any state secrets, because just yesterday or day before rather, we ordered some masala, and the masala leaked in the delivery because it leaked in the brown packet immediately, and I was so irritated because then the whole place is dirty, and then they blame me always. If there's a leakage, no pun intended, it's my fault in my house. Now that's only 80% true. So Chaitanya, here's the big question that I'm asking is how, and I don't tell us exactly because I know that's part of your USP and all that, but we marveled at the point when we first heard of the concept of delivering coffee, that you can deliver it hot and piping hot, as you said, half an hour, 40 minutes later, still piping hot, no change in taste, aroma, all is fresh, and without anything falling. Which, when you see the way these guys, the delivery boys, drive their bikes and scooters, most of them, they live only 15 days from what I gather. So how does that happen? I mean, due respect.
No, so I think yes, we have to make everyone's life easy, right? We have our baristas who make the coffees. We have the delivery people who actually deliver the coffee, and customer who drinks it. And we have to come up with a solution that basically should work for everyone. If the delivery guy is zipping through the streets of Bandros or Koramangala and the coffee leaks, they're definitely in a trouble. I mean, so we have to ensure, and similarly, when our baristas are making, we just have to make sure that they do something really simple, but they do it really well. And the customers, I mean, end of the day, we serve them. We have to ensure that their experience is top notch. So yeah, I mean, I think it is attention to the smallest details that can sometimes give you differentiation, right? Like Steve Jobs' famous quote. I always tell my team that his dad used to tell him while he was growing up that it's not the nuts and bolts that you see outside, but the ones that are inside the machine that you should be worried about, because that's really what you're caring about. If you do them well, everything will be fine. So it's the nuances, and we also have to keep innovating, right? I mean, for example, the way we deliver coffee is hot or cold. It's sort of globally first. I mean, I lived in New York for 10 years. I used to drink a lot of coffee there.
Go back to that whole thing. I interrupted you at the wrong point. What is that period where this coffee suddenly became a big issue, or rather you sort of grew with the whole coffee culture? This is New York.
Yeah. So look, I think I was just a regular tier 2 Indian kid, man. I mean, I was from a place, my parents live in a place called Vijayawada in Andhra. I visit them every 6 months even now. So I did my undergrad.
With coffee.
With coffee, yes.
Andhra is also famous for coffee, so I'm presuming, yeah.
Yes. Andhra and Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, all the three have their own, nuanced culture of filter coffee.
Kerala, take that. Kerala, take that. I'm just.
No, I should tell Kerala also.
Famous for coffee, Kerala.
I just got back from Kerala last night, late in the night, and we bought some coffees. They have some good coffees in Why Not as well. But yeah, so no.
Which is Rahul Gandhi's constituency. So put that together. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've seen a lot of posters of Rahul Gandhi. We went on it.
Vote for Rahul, get one coffee free. Is it? Yeah.
We didn't do anything of that sort, but yes. Yeah. But no, I think going back, I was just like a regular coffee drinker, nothing serious, or I didn't pursue coffee as sort of a crazy passion or anything. So moderately nuanced coffee drinkers, I would say, and a lot of coffee runs. I mean, the culture in Europe or US for coffee is just now it's seeped in so much, right? People just they have to get their coffee before they enter the subway. They have to get their coffee, while they're on the street, while they're on the shopping. So the whole idea of holding a cup of coffee with everything else being done in your life is pretty standard, and people drink multiple cups.
Yeah.
And
we never saw that here 20 years ago. Sorry to interrupt. This exactly what you're saying. They would walk the streets of New York and London and Hong Kong, Singapore with these cups in their hands, because it's part and parcel of the culture. Coffee goes with you. Coffee doesn't have to be a separate area. Also, that's something
right. It's just on the move. It just people use it sort of as part of their daily ritual and
Correct.
whatnot. And the reason for soda consumption, like if it's a Coke or Pepsi, also being so high, is the caffeine. I used to have a boss. He's like a mid-50s guy. He used to carry diet Coke cans in his pocket, because he always has to take a sip if he's thinking hard. Like the whole caffeine, they're very much into caffeine a lot. They consume coffee, they consume sodas, all of that for caffeine. But coming back to our question of how did we get in? Long story short, I got exposed to the coffee culture and the coffee, the world of coffee, and we moved back. Just when we were expecting our kid, we wanted to be back in India. That was 2011, 2012. Our first startup was actually in education. So we decided to move to Bangalore to do this edtech, education technology startup. And that was a time we were building startup. We came back from outside, and we were like, yahan pe na, Bangalore is the coffee capital of the country, right? I mean, you have a lot of cafes. You have Coffee Day. That was the prime time of Coffee Days, and a lot of other cafes. They've done a beautiful job of cafe culture. But kabhi bhi आपको कॉफी चाहिए, right? It's still a struggle. You have to send a chotu. You have to basically or stand outside.
Chaitanya, you can't say chotu anymore. These are pretty incorrect things.
I know. I have to send my office boy.
It's Admi.
Right. I'm sorry.
Chotu ko bhejo, of course.
So this was by the way in 2012-13. We don't do that anymore. I'm just talking in past tense. But yeah, so I think we just realized that you can get better coffee. B, more convenience, C, more affordable. So I think with that, we kind of, and by the way, the edtech startup was a little ahead of its time. So we're also trying to see, we kind of were in the process of exiting it, and we decided, why don't we just, we love our coffees. We know there is a gap here. Why don't we test it out? So this was 2015, April, May time, and we ran some, slightly quirky, crazy Facebook ads. saying, "Hey, Bengaluru, we know your office coffee sucks. If you guys, how about if you actually get a good cup of coffee, that comes to you rather than you going to it? Would you be interested?" And we were like, "Just sign up, and we'll reach out to you and figure out, how to take about it." And we said something like, "You can actually try a coffee from us, sort of on the house type."
Gratis.
And we
The
and we
best
were
marketing strategy in India. Huh.
and we were amazed. So that free coffee was sort of at the end, though. We didn't want people to just sign up for free, but we were like, we kind of targeted and whatnot. But we got a lot of interest. We got like tens and thousands of people who signed up in 2 weeks. We ran it for 2 weeks, and then we did deliver to almost 5,000 odd people. And we, in the process, we basically figured there is a coffee startup that needs to be done here, and that was the backstory.
So this is the actual test, isn't it? Those 5,000 people and the other customers that you spoke to. So immediately the reaction was great. One is obviously the bringing the coffee home. I understand that because I personally love that concept of everything coming home. I wish my wife would come home. She left me 20 years ago. But so that is a practical point, but it cannot work on that alone. It has to be the taste, right? In the end, it has to be a connection with the actual, when it comes to a beverage, it has to be that. For the long
Right.
road, I'm saying, how else will it work? I mean,
As a brand, what we learned is you're essentially promising two things for any customer. You have a rational promise, you have an emotional promise. The rational promise is not to F up anything that they expect, which is good coffee, good experience, great taste, great aroma, hot coffee to hot milega, cold coffee to cold milega, all of those things, right? And that's just rational. You're judging on, there's no grayness there. It's black and white, right? Either you've done great or you've messed it up. So that has to be the hygiene. So we can't really build brands on rational promise because customers have so much choice these days. If you say, "Hey, listen, I do XYZ good, you should consider me," they say, "Boss, I got like 10 others saying the same thing." So the rational is the hygiene, and the emotional is obviously everything that makes them feel good, either because of things on the product that they're not expecting that you're doing, or you're just doing stuff that makes them happy, right?
where does taste fall?
Taste is part of rational. I mean, you have to have. I mean, look, we're a beverage brand. If my coffee tastes horrible, everything else I say is basically nonsense.
It's like an ugly woman with great personality. That's what I'm wondering. I mean, due respect.
Well said.
I mean,
Well said.
Not a sexist comment. After Chotu, we're already going down.
No, it's,
so I thought
it's
might as well.
yeah. I mean, it's like ugly dude with
ugly dude. Doesn't work, Chaitanya. It doesn't work with the male. Nobody cares if you're ugly or handsome. This is the society we were born into. No, okay, there's one question I want to ask you. Just I don't know whether you'll appreciate it, but for Indians, when we say the words "for coffee" and if we hesitate, it sounds like "for coffee." I'm just thinking, I would like to just say that as a delivery boy. Sir, I've gone for coffee. How do you control the feedback? When the feedback comes to you, how do you control that? How do you, like, what would you do? Like, you can't correct yourself with everyone, saying everything.
No, that's a great question. And thanks for asking, because the world that we're living in, you just are leaving your footprint, in terms of the feedbacks and the stuff we write. We're just leaving. Our customers are very vocal. So firstly, 95%.
And specific, I would think, with coffee.
Very specific. Very specific. Look, I think, so I'll tell you how this works, right? 95% of the entire business we do is online. Our offline business is still very much in its early stages. What I call as a grab and go, which we are very excited about, by the way. We know that it's going to be bigger. It's not like online is just there and everything is offline is going to die. Nothing like that. It's going to be omni-channel. But right now, because we actually do online, predominantly well, right? I mean, we have 175 cafes, out of which 165 of our cafes are online cafes. 10 of them are just offline takeaway. Even those 10, a lot of online orders come. So what we've seen is, on average, every day we get 25 to 30% of that day's orders in customer feedback. That's been consistent and it's only growing. Back in the day it was 15%, now it's around 25, high 20s. And there people put their heart out. And they don't even wait. They get the coffee, they take the sip, they're like, boom, they're putting their feedback. It's like, it's both love and hate, right? And I'm not saying it's just for us. It's just the idea of expressing yourself. the idea of I have an opinion and I want to share that with the world is I'm not judging. I'm not here whether it's good or bad, but for a brand it works fantastic because we get a lot of data.
And you can't ignore it. That's the thing. Like, we can ignore it when people are rude to us, or if you say something or whatever.
No.
Because we call it the anonymous asshole syndrome, where because you're anonymous and you're an asshole, you want to just vent. But you can't. You have to still listen to him. I'm presuming you can't
We have
afford to
to.
not listen. You can't take that chance that he's just an idiot. So,
No. I mean,
yeah.
look, I think for brand, it's the most powerful asset. If we listen to each of that feedback, turn that into an insight, and turning some of those insights into actions, that's when you actually are doing the right thing. Because look, I think there is a great saying. I mean, it's actually a work done by one marketing expert. It's called some kind of a framework, story brand framework. I'm plugging that guy. I recently read it. So the brand should not think they're the heroes. The customer is the hero, brand is the guide. So hero jo bhi karta hai na, that's good. That's right. So we have to listen to them.
That's huge, huh? In marketing jargon, I would think that's a huge statement to make, that you cannot disregard a single member of the tribe that's going to buy your coffee.
You can't. I mean, it is at your own peril, because look, even if it is negative feedback, right? Majority of the times, that negative feedback is actually something that's going to tell you where we are doing wrong. And even if it is a negative feedback that is basically has its roots in certain other intent, you still have to address it. Because somebody is saying, I have my competitor who is basically, let's say, fueling bad comments about us. Now, we just have to do as a brand that, listen, we're in this together, bro. We're not like trying to take away your customers. You do your stuff good, I do my stuff good. So the idea of it's not a zero sum game. So I think, there is a lot of merit. There is nothing negativity in this. You just have to take everything positive.
Chaitanya, you can't be very touchy in this kind of business, I'm thinking, because this brand is a character. This whole, coffee is not just a simple product. It's obviously got a lot of character involved. It's like a personality. And at the end of the day, I'm just thinking that you're always trying to reinvent it a little bit here and there. And you have to keep up with what everybody's saying, because your whole thing is online. It's all about the customer feedback. It's always going to be there. It's not, the old days when we just went to a cafe and there's one guy, let's call him Chotu, who's serving you, and that's it. So
you're right.
Your relationship is an interrelationship. It's not a one-sided thing ever. So that's also exciting, I guess.
It is super exciting. It is actually probably the biggest reason that makes us wake up every day, jump out of our beds and say, hey, listen,
and drink your coffee.
And drink our coffee along with our customers. But it's super interesting, because it just forces you to do things every time in a new way. Forces us to think innovatively, and demanding us of things better than what we can think of. For example, simple things, right? I mean, this is a cup. You guys have seen it. We don't use any plastic at all, right? I mean, we serve our cold coffees in these cups also, cold beverages. Now, nobody has done it. And in the initial days, right, we have customers who are very, very vocal about sustainability, no plastic, conscious consumption, all those things. And we really care about them. We really hear from them. We really learn from them. And there are also customers who basically were ridiculing, this is not the way to serve, cold beverages. And as a brand, right, we have to be neutral. We have to kind of do the right thing. And we went with what is the right thing here. Now, that entire thing, I mean, we kind of have set a benchmark that, hey, listen, you can actually be a beverage brand without having plastic in your supply chain. So that's great for us, because...
So what happens to the critics who wanted their cold coffee in, I presume, old-fashioned plastic?
Yeah, we had to put out reasons on why we do what we do, including, it's bad for the environment. It's bad for just us not to be mindful about, and especially when I'm expecting my customers to drink my coffee every day. I can't keep doing the sin of adding plastic every day, right? I mean, that's obviously a huge thing. So we had to write blog posts, we had to put social media posts, we had to talk to customers one-to-one in some cases, and said, hey, listen, I know it's not from a utility standpoint, the plastic works well, but there is always this happy trade-off which we need to be mindful. It's not like we can only seek material consumption as the only way. So this is the happy balance we're trying to do. Please understand and please cooperate with us. And that worked. And we do these kind of things every day. So, tomorrow there will be some other issue that one of our customers will bring saying, hey, listen, you guys are doing this wrong. Why don't you figure out a better process? That becomes the fodder for our entire team to think and come up with a solution that we didn't think of before.
Chaitanya, as we have gone to break, we've gone way above time. But as we go to break, I'm going to give you because I think you've been fantastic and you seem to be so sincere and enjoying what you're doing, which is, I think, the key to any entrepreneurship at the end of the day. Here's my gift to you. It's a huge idea. As you know, I'm a multi-talented, multifaceted genius. And every night some idea comes to my head. One was on reviving democracy, but I cancelled that. That's for another day, 10 years later. I think the time has come for a coffee dispenser to be kept in every place where you basically keep a little distance from the tap and you can drink from it and you pay a certain amount of money and as much as you can drink. What do you think of so you don't have any packaging issues, nothing, environment friendly. Coffee dispenser by tap, like the draft beer tap concept.
Yeah. That sounds, I think it's definitely doable, especially where you have...
Chaitanya, Lelo, it's my gift. Take it.
Aapka royalty bhi denge.
No, I don't. I just want to put my face on one of the mugs or something. I'll be happy and show my mom. See, dekha? Slay coffee pe aa gaya. Okay, now I'm going to introduce you, Chaitanya, to a friend of ours who's a huge fan, absolute fan. He's our producer, Silvery, 28-year-old man with no future, but he loves Slay coffee. Silvery, please come on. And throughout the time that we were endorsing, or rather you were endorsing us, or we were endorsing you, he would drink his coffee and he's tried all the brands and all the different flavors. And for some reason, he's not coming on. Silvery, are you there?
Yes. Hello. Good morning.
You may have
Hi,
drunk
Chaitanya.
too much coffee and just jumping up and down a little bit. Oh, you're in the office, so
correct.
you're safe. You can't run.
Yeah.
In Powai,
correct.
conveniently, you have Wi-Fi issues and you disappear in the middle, especially at evening time when you play your other sport. One hand is with the coffee, one hand is something else. I won't get into it. Please tell us.
Yeah, it's with the sugar. The other hand is with the sugar.
No sugar. I'm diabetic. Go on.
I'm a huge fan of the coffee. Absolutely. I really
you like the names, don't you? I mean, you brought them up all the time on the podcast.
Correct. We played a lot with Wrong Turn and Graveyard and the hot chocolate is excellent.
For your generation, the one after that, these names are huge, right? The association, as you can see, us growing up on 1 cup chai, 1 cup coffee.
See,
the whole concept is you got that.
Correct, because everyone has the same otherwise names. It's always the espresso and the cappuccino and vagera. This you have like
what we realized is a lot of people know, especially when we're trying to give something new, something I would say. Something that they know, but that we're trying to upgrade them, in a good way, right? I mean, we're not trying to be obnoxious and say, hey, listen, you're drinking something bad. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
We also have to make it easy to understand. So I think a lot of the stuff in coffee is very intimidating. It's, a lot of YouTubers have done a lot of videos, by the way, all over the world that basically tells them, I walked into Starbucks or some other fancy cafe and I didn't know what the heck to order because, the names are so intimidating. We're like, hey, listen, I think let's just, make it simple. I mean, there are coffees like, your lattes to your cold coffees. They're pretty standard, what we call them Slay basics. But everything else, if you actually keep it simple, make it a little more relatable. The moment I say Wrong Turn, it tells something about it. It's intriguing. Let's try that. And then people try to read the description and it says there's something in this that makes the name relatable. But yeah, I think
it's also slightly self-deprecating. So I can see a whole personality type liking it. Wrong Turn. There's a sense of self-deprecating. That's also cool to be reverse. Reverse praise or what counter praising in a sense.
Yeah, like Graveyard, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can see people aligning themselves to certain names. Graveyard, again, it's an uncool cool.
Right.
Maybe that's the way it is. Who knows? I can't understand anymore. But definitely not cafe. With due respect, Mota, La Mota, Vamota. After some time, it just sounds like no one's even worked on it. They're just giving you a basic description.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I see. I don't understand how these names work or don't work, but I'm just thinking for the next generation, it seems to have a stronger connection than it does for maybe.
It goes back to your earlier question, Cyrus. So we also get a lot of feedback from customers. So it's a feedback loop, right? It's not like every name we come up with basically is a hit. There is. It's just like Bollywood, right? You got to basically keep dishing and certain things stick. And then
Why would you bring the comparison to Bollywood? Such a lovely product, Slay Coffee. Next, you'll have item number as a special request. Yeah. No, sorry, carry on. Chetan, are you there? Chetan needs a cup of coffee. Quickly send him Slay Coffee. What should we send him? Wrong Turn?
Did he lose us or something?
He seems to have not. The sound seems to have gone. Let's make fun of Chaitanya for 2 minutes behind his back.
No. He's... Hi, Chaitanya. Back. Can you hear us now? Okay.
You heard everything, didn't you? Damn it. There goes my Slay Coffee subscription cancelled. They won't let me in. Yeah.
I think I missed the most important part.
I just want to ask you one more slightly serious question before we get into the AMAs and all. This, so in service is there in the customer, old-fashioned customer on-floor service? Just online, I mean, there's no, because the brand seems to be growing fast. The word of mouth is great. So why would that not be part of it in a more serious way? The cafe Slay Coffee.
Right. No, it's pretty serious. It's very serious. What we are calling Slay Coffee bars. So, we have three. Let me do my 30-second quick brand plug here. So we have Slay Coffee. In terms of, I mean, our entire vision is to democratize good coffee, right? I mean, and democratizing good coffee means. Well, coffee we surely can, and we are doing a pretty decent job. But there's a lot of road ahead, and I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park. So you can democratize anything if it is easy to get, and it's affordable, and it's convenient, and it makes you feel happy, right? I mean, as customers. So I think we're trying to do those things, and we started with online because our customers buy everything online. I mean, that's the easiest, and for us to test between the names to the products. To the packaging, to the price points, everything. So we've done that. We've done that for 2.5 years. With all the insights, now we're getting into the next thing. We started that. In fact, as I said, Bangalore, we already have this, which is called Slay Coffee Bars. These are small setups. These are not cafes. These are think of them as takeaway.
But
grab and go.
Oh, grab and go. Okay.
It comes in a format where you can sit. I mean, we have 500 square feet spaces. You come in, you sit on the bar stools. We deliberately make the seating a little uncomfortable for you not to lounge for a while.
So it's got a limited. It's like a T20 match. So you've got a 10-minute gossip session 5 to 10 minutes, and then you move on. Is that it? Which makes a lot of sense also because you're in a hurry, but you still want to catch a quick bite or whatever, a quick moment with someone.
I'm sure my marketing team is listening to what you just said. I'm sure they're going to use it. So you're right. It's quick on the go.
They won't use my dispenser idea, but they're using this. This is not fair.
And we also have what we call Slay at Home, which some of our blends and all, the customers can make it at home. So between online coffee delivery, grab and go, which is quick, on the go, and we're making these on the go essentially in commercial malls, tech parks, where people already work, travel, play, and then the at home is our sort of packaged coffees, right? I mean, there is so much innovation going on, where you can just carry nice coffees that you can put hot water and make your brew, kind of demystifying the entire coffee being complicated angle, and making our customers enjoy their coffee wherever they are, whatever time it is, right? So that's the whole idea. And while we do that, that's a rational promise. While we do that, the emotional side of it is Slay, which is we want people, we believe each of our customer is a slayer. And when I say that, they have their own slay moments. These are moments that they slay, in their own lives, in whatever they do. And they're not doing it for the external world. They do it for themselves. Somebody getting up for their 6 o'clock, workout session, and they do it. Somebody showing up to their date on time. That their girlfriend, may not even acknowledge, but the guy feels good. Hey, listen, I showed up on time. So these are all the small slay moments, which we call what drives us as people, as we pursue our lives, as we live our lives, and as we try to live them happier. We just want to be, powering those moments with a cup of coffee. So that's sort of the rational and the emotional angle coming together.
What a brand it is when you think about it. The fact that you can actually do anything, because coffee will play a part. I'm just thinking aloud here. Anything you do, coffee can play a part. There's nothing you can say that coffee is not necessary. There's certain brands, 100%. There's only areas you can pigeonhole them into. But here, it's a fabulous idea. You can start early morning, like you said, with a workout, and you can go right till the end of the day with a date. All along, there's everywhere you go, the workplace, as we talked about on the go in the West, holding it in the hand and walking, which is part of your USP again. Speedily pick up and off you go. So the whole days. Listen, I've got the ad campaign for you, bro, and I'm not charging you. This is my second gift. Take it down, guys. Take notes. No, but really, you can. We're talking about this famous Bajaj film, the montage films, which is the heartbeat of America, copy as it is. It's somewhere in that space, where you can literally have any class of society, any time of the day, and any dynamic in social institutions. Man, woman, 5 guys together, 3 girls together, mother and daughter. I mean, any dynamic. So it's a fantastic. Let's get into. Bro, let's close the podcast and become Slay coffee franchise owners, if it's possible.
We don't offer franchises.
But you will. Now we all want to be part of your dream. We'll firstly, I think you're just a great ambassador for what you do. I mean, there's no doubt about that because you seem so happy and self-contained about it. You're neither shouting and screaming like Richard Branson or worried about defensive bat to everything either. So I can see that.
I think it's just the age. I think we've been doing it for a while. We got sobered down.
No, I think you're just lucky, Chaitanya. You won't say it. You're a modest man, but the fact of the matter is you're doing something that you really enjoy, and the fact that you can take the criticism and all, and you're enjoying that. I'm just thinking, people say bad things to us, Silvery, as comedians. You want to quit the job? I'm not even talking about government attacking you. I'm just talking somebody thinking, yeah, the joke was damn old or whatever. Boom, you feel like a cup of snake coffee to tide you over.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by 90s icon and musician Remo Fernandez. They discuss his autobiography, his life, and a whole lot more. On Storytellers and Storysellers, Vineet is joined by stand-up comedian, podcaster, and now musician Akash Mehta about his journey in stand-up comedy and his upcoming debut album, What a Life. On the Talle Harate Kannada podcast, Pawan speaks to PL Uday Kumar. He's a technologist and history researcher, and they discuss digital 3D scanning technology being used to conserve Bengaluru's rich heritage of inscription stories. On Speakeasy, Dheeraj is joined by one of India's most sought-after influencers, Raj Shamani. And on the All Things Policy podcast, the Takshashila folks discuss the gender inequalities that exist in the fashion world. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And also do check out our YouTube channels. We have a number of them. You can get them on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And remember, if you're enjoying this show, or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. It really does help us spread the word. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors for the network this week, Cred, Bank of Baroda, CoinSwitch, Kuber, Intel, and Oxfam India. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. Let's get the AMAs. Come on, there are lots of people who want to pile on.
Chaitanya, is that how you came up with the name though? This slay of the day, like slaying the stuff, slaying the day.
Yeah. So
okay,
I mean,
that was the intention.
that was the gist, right? But yeah, we just
any reasonable anchor, Chaitanya, would have asked you this question at the top of the show. What is the reason of naming the company Slay? Chavik Bagchi, my number one critic on this show, has pointed it out. On minute number 47, the moron has still not asked the important question: ki Slay ka matlab kya hai, kaisa hua, and where did the idea originate from?
But that's the whole point, right? Be different, do the unexpected. That always works. That always is good. It's for a change.
I don't know. I have a lovely name for a product, but no one's taking it from me. It's called Balls to You. And I'm saying, bro, just sell this Balls to You. So you like it, right? It could be even pens. Balls to You. I just thought it would work, but nobody's picked it up yet. Anyway, if you're interested, you can give me 20% royalty on that. That I'm happy with. Yeah. Come on, let's see the AMAs, because there are coffee lovers around the world, especially Slay coffee lovers. They are used to the brand and the name from the show. So let's see what we get.
Yes, absolutely. The next one comes in from Tarun Kaushik. He says there's a coffee called Kopi Luwak, which is basically undigested coffee seeds from civet poop. Civet is the kind of bird. And the most expensive coffee as well. This is so shitty. Coffee is actually expensive.
Well, one of the vaccines comes from a chimpanzee sperm or something like that, doesn't it? They mix monkey excreta.
I don't know this.
Bro.
We are not doctors. I don't know this.
You're being saved by the crap and semen and the fluids of primates sometimes, I mean, whatever. Sorry, let Chaitanya take that. I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, so Tarun, yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. There is, this is very popular in certain parts of the world, especially Indonesia and other Asian countries. Civet is a certain type of cat.
It's a cat.
So, yeah, so so look, coffee, as I was telling, coffee is actually a cherry, right? It's almost like a berry cherry. So the civet cat, they eat them. They eat the pulp.
So when you have coffee, you lose your cherry. Is that the phrase that they use? Yeah. Sorry. You're explaining very nicely. The civet cat. This is now National Geographic moment on our podcast. Yes.
So the civet, they eat the cherry and they kind of eat the whole cherry, right? And it goes through the digestive tract of the cat, and as part of the digestion and the whole fermentation, the coffee basically, the bean basically gets
nicely put. Chaitanya, fermentation, beautifully put. Super. You could go straight to Wharton Business School and teach this. Yeah. Everybody be clapping. So, it's poop.
So yes, it and then it finally gets delivered as part of its poop, and then people obviously separate it, and then you kind of wash it, and you do whatever you need to do to make it edible. But yeah, so the process actually, if you keep out the poop part of it, slightly aside, it just tells the wonderful world of coffee that different processing and all of that. But yeah, it's by the way, it's little we've tried that. In fact, very early days of our menu, we even got them. There is civet coffee available in Coorg and Chikmagalur areas also. They in fact got some civets, and the vegan guys were not happy, so we basically decided not to have it, and that was the reason. So Cyrus, going back to the earlier point, we wanted to have this whole
customer feedback.
Yes, exactly. We want to have this most talked about, glamorous coffee. Then we realized we have a lot of vegan customers, and they said, "Hey, listen, this is not cool." And we said, heard loud and clear, we're dropping it. But yeah, it is expensive, and if somebody gives you for free, try it. Don't buy it.
I know about that, but I'm thinking about all the things you can use to talk about it. For example, the phrase like "one with nature" or "be kind to animals." These are the kind of things you could think of, because you're really going out there. At the end of the day, poop is poop. I'm sorry to say, however you look at it.
My son actually said about something that's made with in panda poop. It's a delicacy. So there is a lot of poop business going on where humans consume. So it's not just unique.
You think the animals are laughing at us? First we kill everything, destroy the environment, but then we consume their poop. I mean, they're like, really? Who are these guys? Where do they come from? Yeah. All right. Let's try the next. Let's try a few more.
Yep, sure. Girish Patil says Cyrus looks dapper in a suit. And Aditya Sharda says how people start their day. Children, Doraemon. Adults, Arnab. Legends, Cyrus.
Oh, wow.
Very nice. Very
Ouch.
sweet.
Even if it's sarcastic, I'll take it. What the hell?
Yeah, take it.
I'm learning from Chaitanya. I think it's a very balanced approach where you do not take it personally. And let's also understand there's lots of praise. It's not like there's a lot of criticism and that's the reason. But I'm just saying, many people, it's just too personal when it's your business. It's like your child, these things, you just can't handle it. And generally, your ego takes over in a sense. You can't, be clinical and logistical about it. And you get into the space where, your ego takes over. You take things personally and you say, no, this is my way or the highway. And I'm thinking, we're getting a lesson here in entrepreneurship, whether you like it or not, where it's how to detach yourself and yet be very passionate. Is this fair to say to you?
Well, I mean, look, if you take it everything to your heart and feel that's going to hurt your ego, you're not going to be sane yourself. By doing that, you're not doing the world a favor. You're doing yourself a favor. You're trying to stay afloat the water. If you actually get consumed by stuff that you should not take it in, you're going to drown, right? So I think we're not doing, by being humble, you're not doing I'm not doing anybody any favor in the world. By being humble, I'm being kind to myself so that I can continue to learn and I can continue to do good stuff. And that's actually the right thing to do.
I think you're just giving us a winning formula. People don't think it through properly. The fact that you can do this in such a balanced way is how you go ahead. Because if you really want the brand to work, you've got to listen, and you're listening. I'm writing down all the points because I want to be an entrepreneur one day. I'm a little old. Silvery, will you be an entrepreneur for me? I'll just give you my name, balls to you.
Okay, yeah, you can be my investor.
And it's an NGO for child development to help the children have a future. Balls to you. Yeah. I just think it works beautifully. I can see Slay Coffee coming on board.
Yeah.
Because he never says no.
We'll definitely.
He says maybe.
Also, Cyrus, I think, by the way, the dispenser idea is quite, in my head at least, is good. Because
I think it's great.
Cold coffee, it'll be great. Hot coffee, it'll burn your lips. If it's
what do you guys think?
So, by the way, it's there. It's there. Yeah. They have a cold brew dispensers in most of the office parks. Yes, you're right. It's in a captive setting. People give it on the house for free and stuff. But it's not a bad idea to have it in restaurants and other establishments where you self-serve. It's like a can of Coke, right? You come and you have a free refill and stuff. Yeah.
I'll give you another example from a brand that doesn't affect you, which is if you go to McDonald's or Burger King in the old days, and when you have the option of the tomato ketchup ka dispenser, right? I really enjoyed that because I could put the right amount without having any headache. Those stupid sachets and things that, or even that bottle which never works, and you're pressing like a fool and hits your mother in the face for no reason. I think that's stupid. But the moment I actually, anxiety level goes down in a abroad in a fast food place when I see that thing, because I know I can take my time and put the ketchup like a good desi boy who wants ketchup all over the place. And I'm just thinking the same thing for coffee, and actually no waste and no packaging. The person can consume as much as they want. How much can you consume? Consume. Shawik says patent the idea, which means it's a stupid idea. As I told you, I will spread it. Yeah. Just be careful. If you drink too much coffee, you may look like this, huh? Ivan, say hello. Yes.
Hi, Ivan.
That's Ivan, who does all our makeup, and he drinks about 5 to 6 cups of coffee every day. He seems okay though. He never even seems ruffled. Some people can just take it, right, Chaitanya? Some are hyper, and like I get hyper really fast with coffee, but other people nothing.
I think it depends on your body type, to be honest. Like, I tend to actually take my coffee. I used to take that as a first thing. Now I tend to take it like around, not as a first thing. I try to eat my breakfast and then go for my coffee around 10, 11. And that just because, and I also pace my coffee. I try to have 3-4 hours of gap, because otherwise, I drink strong coffee. I mean, I like my coffee to be strong. It all depends, man. Some people actually can.
One sec. Read the comment.
Sahil Cafe said, how much coffee is too much? I have 12 cups a day. Is it normal?
12 definitely sounds. 12
the businessman, you should say yes. The businessman, and you should say perfectly good.
Yeah, 20. Go right ahead.
Great stuff.
Okay.
Well done.
Okay, so I think Sahil, what you should do, instead of the 12 cups of coffee, whatever you're drinking, I'm guessing it's not Slay. Just replace with 4. So just
we bow to you, sir. Superb.
Just replace that with 4 cups of Slay. I think you'll be doing absolutely fine.
Yeah, and graveyard is strong. For example, word that comes to mind immediately. So he obviously has a tendency to want more coffee, right? The fact that he's having 12, so strong coffee would.
So I think
more sense.
Just because I think a lot of I want to just add, if I can. Coffee basically has certain properties, right? Coffee has acidity. A lot of people actually get, their tummies go for a toss. So there are ways where you can reduce the bad effects of coffee. For example,
this show's all about poop in the last 15 minutes. What are we doing? It was so sophisticated in the beginning. A romantic story of a guy who comes up with an idea and takes up on a market which has already got so many players, and now it's civet poop and us pooping and too much. Okay, sorry, go on.
Eat, poop, eat. We're going to close it on eating again. So, but there are ways you can reduce the side effects. For example, you can have coffee. That is basically in colder varieties. There is cold. You can have it slightly lesser in terms of the decoction, the brew that goes in. You can have cold brewed coffee, which is basically not exposed to the hot brewing, where you extract more acidity. So there are tons of things. So what I'm saying is, somebody who's a coffee lover, and bless you, people like you, Sahil, drink more coffee, but drink it in different ways also. You can it's not just like you drink the same thing 12 times. You can actually look at different ways.
Chaitanya, I think there's also alluding to the point that you're an addict, and I know a lot of my pals are like that as well. They need their coffee, right? And initially they wouldn't care about what coffee it was, wherever we are, whatever we're doing, they have to get their coffee from that place. Now it's changed. You guys have come in, so they want their Slay coffee, they want the special brew because they're more sophisticated in their taste, but they still need that consumption of coffee and caffeine.
Absolutely. So look, I think if you're a coffee drinker with the milk, whenever you're drinking coffee for the caffeine, you're drinking milk also. You're drinking unnecessary calories. So replace that with water. It could be a hot Americano or cold Americano. It's going to take some time. Initially, when you're making
much better with milk, which is a great question to ask you, Chaitanya.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It is an acquired taste. And believe me, you try it for some time, you will acquire that taste. It's like it's a comfort zone. Coffee and milk is a comfort zone. I'm not saying ditch it altogether, but the dimension of actually coffee, enjoying the coffee, good coffee. Bad coffee tastes like shit if you don't mix it with milk. But good coffee, try like a Slay Americano, for example. You see the floral, you see the fruity, taste, notes, hints coming. You start enjoying it.
But I have pals who do the black coffee thing. And in fact, guys who work here, they do the black coffee thing primarily, I suppose, because they want to keep their weight down. And they say it's great tasting as well. Can we honestly tell the truth about black coffee, and that it's, who's going to say it? From your smile, you're wanting to say it, but do you?
No, black coffee actually tastes good. I'm a black coffee drinker, so I drink milk coffee also.
Insisted you become a black coffee drinker is different from being a black coffee drinker. Huh?
But yeah, look, I think milk definitely mellows it down, makes it creamier, makes it easier on the palate for sure, right? I mean, I think, and we as a country of milk-obsessed country, I mean, India is the world's largest producer and consumer of dairy, by the way. We love milk in all formats. And if you see in the US or Europe or any other countries, right, the dose of milk also is very little. But we put like, in our tumblers, we put 80% milk, 20% coffee. They use creamers. They use the half and half. They use the milk powders, all kinds of stuff. But we actually,
or you can take a Caucasian person and put their finger in also if you want it to be more. No, is that racist? I'm sorry. A North of England accent needed here. Is that racist?
If it's a hot coffee, you're gonna burn their finger for sure.
There you go. So it's not just racist; it's hottest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a couple more. Coffee should always be black without sugar. Coffee with milk is for kids. Gautam, how dare you? You might be correct.
No, nothing like that.
Let's see his response. Let the maestro talk.
Sure.
What's your response?
Well, I think Gautam is sure sounding like a,
Pai is a very Bangalore name also. Be very careful because there'll be cousins all over. Yeah.
Yes. I think Gautam, you're sounding definitely like somebody who knows his coffee. But listen, I think it's end of the day, it's everybody's preference, right? I mean, we all like to do stuff the way we want. There are people who actually haven't tasted and they, like Cyrus was saying, swear not to have coffee without milk. So whatever works.
Yeah,
Chaitanya, I'm thinking politics from here straight directly. I'm saying this in a very good way, not in a bad way. I'm saying you have that very deft touch. You're like a young Maradona, where the ball doesn't even seem to, the foot is there, the ball is there, it doesn't even make contact, but it's just fabulous. You're able to weave your way through everything. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with you. I'm thinking all the way to the top. There you go.
And want to sell more coffee, at least for the next couple of years.
If the party could be called Slay Coffee, you'll get more votes than you think. Trust me, because you'll be really authentic. Mohit, will you vote for Slay Coffee as a political party? There you go. We got you one vote already. And he's not even in your constituency. He'll come all the way from Mumbai to Cubbon Park to press his vote somewhere in an EVM machine that's faulty. Let's get a couple more.
Yep. Kamal Sethi asks, there is a serious lack of decaf options in coffee, at least the ones you buy for home, other than Nestle. Why do you think that is? And are there any plans for Slay to offer a decaf option as well?
But having said that, is there a market for decaf in India?
Right. So I think you're absolutely right, Cyrus. So Kamal's question about decaf, we do get it once in a while for sure. Not a huge market, but at the same time, right? See, this is exactly the point. If brands chase demand, we won't be innovating. We also have to take the onus to, bring certain smaller segments, because it's about, certain type of products being not available is not because there is no demand. It's because they're not available, they're not supplied, right? So for example, you have this whole idea of coffee without chicory. Like in South India, people drink coffee with chicory. Now suddenly you see chicory is just an option, right? In the sense, coffee people drink with chicory, without chicory. Earlier, maybe 5 years back, 10 years back, my mom, she never bought coffee without chicory, because for her, coffee and chicory means if you don't have chicory, they think it's bad coffee, for South Indian households. So similarly, decaf. Now, certain people, they love the experience of coffee, the aroma, the whole sensual experience, the multi-sensual experience. So, but caffeine is not something they're seeking. So for them, it's like being lactose intolerant. You want to take the the nutrients of milk, but you're lactose intolerant. You still want a lactose free milk. Similarly, decaf, yes. So I think Kamal, we heard from most of the customers like this also. We definitely will bring something soon, but it's a small segment, to Cyrus' point.
Quickly before we take that, I just want to add here. There's some things like Varun Deshpande was on, and meat without killing animals, which is not meat. I get that totally. I get that concept if it can work. But there's some things like root beer. I don't get that concept. Having drunk beer, and now of course I don't drink alcohol. But I'm thinking, why would I drink root beer? It makes no sense. It's nothing to do with beer. At the end of the day, there's no alcohol in it. So similarly for coffee drinker, I'm a partial coffee drinker. Without the caffeine, I don't know. Sylvie, honestly, would you drink it?
Yeah, I would.
Without the caffeine? With the same zest and zeal that you're drinking, the Josh Junoon that you have for calling up Slay Coffee and getting your favorite graveyard.
Just the thing is, I like the taste of coffee also, albeit with a little bit of sugar. So I would just drink it for the taste, I think, more.
Without the caffeine.
Yeah, just something to drink. Without the caffeine.
Why did you do
I wouldn't
that?
be as interested. You may be right. But again, the thing is, I've never tried decaf. So I don't know if it has actually.
And also, see, I think, Cyrus, the other thing is, our earlier friend, I think his name was, I forgot his name. Somebody was drinking 12 cups of coffee. They're also, the caffeine is actually overshooting. They still want to have coffee. Maybe they can have. So I think, look, your root beer example. In his case,
definitely, yeah.
In your root beer example also, look, I don't enjoy beer. Let's say I'm a person who doesn't enjoy beer. I don't enjoy alcohol altogether, but I want to have the experience of drinking beer. It's for that. It's for the fitting in. I mean, I think it's not just for the caffeine. Some people love the aroma. Like, green tea, for example, people drink it for health reasons. My son, he's 9-year-old. He's not drinking for health reasons. He wants to enjoy green tea for the sake of experience. He loves drinking different green teas and showing it off. And these are all herbal green teas, right? He just likes the experience of actually making green tea and drinking. So I think the reasons are probably aplenty.
I don't know, but sometimes these things work, sometimes they don't. My wife got me a plastic doll early in the marriage and said, you have relations with the doll now. And only thing, it being a male, I was very attracted to it, and so it's caused a lot of trouble in the marriage. But I'm saying, I don't know, I find the solutions to be antithetical to the main point. And sometimes when it's antithetical to the main point, you've lost us. Sometimes it makes sense. Like for me, at least with the meat thing, it really makes sense because it's issues of morality and animal cruelty and environment and all, which are far bigger. But in the case of caffeine, I mean, the whole buzz of caffeine, which 90% of caffeine drinkers must be wanting, and hence decaf can never get really popular. I presume that caffeine buzz is there, and I know Silvery is denying it, but I'm telling you, he's got a caffeine buzz.
I'm going to give you a sort of a boring answer, but it's true. Certain people are not advised to have caffeine, but they still love the idea of drinking coffee, the aroma of it, the experience of it. So for them, the doctors will write you saying, hey, you like your coffee? Now tomorrow onwards, you're going to drink decaf. So, yes, you're right. But for majority, yes.
That's a health reason point. That's like, in italics, which can come from time to time.
Right.
Like Silvery should not be allowed in public in italics, otherwise, because he's being rude to people for no reason whatsoever. Why you so, he's a lovely guy. Huh? I'm just making fun. Can we do one or two more quickly? Because they haven't called me yet. As long as Chaitanya has time.
Yeah. Shawik Bakshi asked this one.
Shawik should be on the show.
Yeah, he should be. Cyrus, are you wearing shorts underneath? News anchors are infamous for doing it.
Can you see?
Oh, full pants. Full pants?
Full pants.
Full pants. Oh, wow.
Full pants. When it's somebody else's clothes, I always wear them. No problem. You don't have to pay for it. Yeah. Yeah. It's actually, an air conditioned setting. See, here's my thing about India. Chetan, I don't know if you agree. When you're in the AC comfort of a corporate office, this suit is fine. You walk around, you actually feel like you have a job. But there are a lot of people well dressed in the marketing, sales, and admin sections and all. But on the streets of Mumbai, this weather is not so bad right now, but 9-10 months of the year, it's the most stupid thing to wear. Yeah. That's why I say everyone should wear shorts and just change into whatever you have to when you reach the corporate sector. It's pointless otherwise. You're just walking around the wrong clothes in monsoon. You've got black shoes on, long beige pants. I have to rectify the entire country. It's going to take me a long time. We'll start with a cup of coffee from Slay Coffee and move from there. Let's take a last question.
Sure. This one comes from Tarun Kaushik. It's a simple question, but I've actually never wondered why this is the case. He says, what is the purpose of foam in the cup of coffee? Is there a purpose? Or is it just like aesthetics?
It's a byproduct.
Yeah. So the whole idea of foam, again, it's for certain type of coffees, right? Cappuccinos, for example. You froth the milk, you create the foam. So there are certain types of coffees where there is an exact proportion. Like you put 1/3 coffee brew, 1/3 milk, and 1/3 foam. So let's say, and that's just a recipe. Not all coffees have the foam. When you are trying to drink, that's more experiential, not just taking a shot of espresso. Like if you're really a caffeine addict and you want caffeine, you're gonna walk into a Slay Coffee bar, you're gonna ask for a shot of espresso, you're gonna check it in, you're done. But you're enjoying a coffee, you want nice latte art on it, there is foam, there is all this sprinkling, all of that, right? So it's the theatrics. So coffee, the foam part is, you're absolutely right, Silvery. So it's just to add to the experience.
Okay, there's a final question, Chetan, if you don't mind. It's come from the Miss Universe. After 21 years, we have a Miss Universe who's won, and she's been listening to the podcast. She loves you, and she says, if you were to choose between coffee, tea, or me, Chaitanya, what would you choose? Is your wife there?
I'm sure she's tuned in. No, that's a very, very tricky and tough question. Between coffee and tea, I'm going.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for all the love. I think I'll stick to the coffee.
He plays it fine in cricketing terms. He plays it fine. He's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Chaitanya, for being on the show. It's called Slay Coffee, and he wants it in Canada. Rohan Jacob, he's missing it. You might as well. Come on, your delivery system. The world is now just one oyster.
No, we do. Listen, we have plans to open it in Dubai very soon. And New York is the place where I lived the most. I definitely want to open Slay in New York. And once we're in New York, right? So I went to school, by the way, just across the border in Buffalo, New York, Niagara Falls area. So we will be...
The rectum of the United States of America. Buffalo, New York. And you're proud. What the hell, Chaitanya?
Listen, that was the place I saw the
Yeah.
snow first time in my life when I went to Buffalo to do my grad school. But yeah, it's during the winters it's a shithole. I mean, it just snows like crazy.
You've used all the wrong cues. Now you've excited Silvery because snow is there's a common name for snow and something that he likes to think about at times when he's with his friends doing pursuits of pleasure.
Yeah, it's I like the cold and all. Yeah, it's nice. Fun.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I mean, right? Yeah.
All right, Chaitanya, it's been fantastic. Thank you. We hope to see and hear more of you. And of course, we're all big fans of Slay Coffee. And what a wonderful podcast you've given us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Right,
it was a blast. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, to the graveyard.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps. Please, we beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Eventually, you'll see the end of your childhood.
Get accustomed to womanhood.
Enjoy the experience of sisterhood.
Might get to wifehood.
Or not. Choose motherhood.
Or not. You'll learn to define your personhood.
Earn a livelihood.
Change the neighborhood.
And get rid of the falsehood that life post-academia is easy.
So join me, Ritasha.
And me, Ayushi.
On a journey from station starting point.
To station, what now?
Next station, Pudin station. And hopefully, Agla station, adulthood.
Fresh episodes out every Thursday.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy. If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.